What's happening? Benton here. On the road, just rolled out of the truck stop. I'm on I-10 in just east of, actually southeast of Phoenix, Arizona. We'll give a little time for the folks to roll on in. I saw Mr. Murphy, Officer Murphy, posted, he checked in earlier. Good to see you, Mr. Murphy. And I'm sick as a dog, y'all. Benton is quite ill. I don't know how much I want to get into my various illnesses. Maybe I should have. That was my little subtext, for the StreamYard underneath my actual handle, Benton. Maybe I should have just left it. I couldn't think of anything else that I could easily type in. So I just left it blank. But yeah, various illnesses. And I don't know what happened yesterday, but I think my gallbladder is actually healing. But in the short term, it's making me quite ill. So please factor that in if you would. I would appreciate it. So I was didn't really sleep very much yesterday, and I spent several hours. To back up, I may have mentioned that I've done several of these liver and gallbladder cleanses. It's a whole process, but it mainly comes down to drinking a combination of either lemon juice or grapefruit juice, fresh squeezed, of course, and like a quarter cup of olive oil. So with my experiences with that, I could tell something was going on with the tubing, whatever that tubing is that connects the gallbladder and the liver. Something's going on in that region. But it was several hours of just laying on my, with my knee pulled up to my chest, laying on my right, kind of just laying on my side, and just feeling a lot of pressure. And I don't know if that's sludge getting pushed through there or if it's completely blocked or partially blocked. But I've cut my calories in half. So I was on 2 meals a day, totaling around 1,500 calories, not including the fruit. And then I doubled that for a time to 4 meals, 3,000 calories. So I think my body was doing that so that I could put on some weight. So now that I put on a few pounds, it looks like my body's saying, hey, let's just go ahead and go back to the 1,500 calories. Although I'm going to do that in 4 meals. We'll see how that goes. But not having a good time physically. But for me, for whatever reason, that really doesn't affect me, my mood, my mentality very much. Part of me likes it, as I've mentioned before, but as long as I can do what I need to do to mine this fiat. Now, I'm wondering, will I be able to make it through New Mexico without being inspected for the 4th time? And I was thinking, I've actually had, in the last 2 months, I've had as many inspections in the state of New Mexico as I've had in all my other time as a truck driver. I've had 3 total inspections before DOT inspections. And then I've had 3 recently in New Mexico. So a total of 6. Half of them have been in New Mexico in the last 2 months. I actually just have my sheet that they gave me. So if I pull into the weigh station and they try to tell me I haven't inspected, I'm just going to show this to them. I'll say, well, y'all got me about 3 days ago. So, I guess I'll take the $100 from my company if this is what we have to do. But it's becoming excessive, sir. I was catching up on Get Chalked Up's recent live stream. Yo Gamma Gamma, or Yo Gamma Gamma is the thumbnail. Owen Benjamin versus Jim Bob. And then they had Illumitami on there. Shout out to Illumitami. Illumitami was on there briefly, and then his Talcott also. And see, I think we, meaning the truth community, I floated this idea several years ago now, a couple of years ago, of a truther talk soup style of show with some sort of a Greg Kinnear, or what's that other guy that hosted that? Whatever that guy's name was. That's 3 of them, I guess, total. And with some kind of host and, playing clips from live streams and truther videos. And I think that's doable now because I'm just now getting around to this live stream from a couple of days ago now. Yeah, one day ago, and I'm only barely past halfway through, and it's only what 4 hours long. So there's a lot of material being generated. There's a lot of ground being covered. With whatever this is, whatever you want to call it, that's going on in these communities. And I don't even like that term. I'm procrastinating. I need to come up with a better term for that. What's up, Rob Cleveland? And I will drop that link here in a bit. I want to freestyle and get some things off my chest, if I may. But yeah, and I just ate my first meal, and dude, it's not good times. And if anybody knows where your gallbladder's located, my lower right abdomen, not a good time right now at all. And I think I'm done with the liver and gallbladder cleansing that I had mentioned before. I think I'm done with that. Last time I did it was when I was still drinking heavily, and it was very disturbing what came out of my body as a result of the last liver and gallbladder cleanse I did. So my plan, although I don't know that I will be successful, and I will claim credit here, and I will toot my own horn, if I may. And something I've noticed in my life, going back to even my high school and college days, is that something about my personality, I bring people together that otherwise would never have been brought together. And I do this effortlessly, and I don't know if that's the Most High working through me. Like, there's literally multiple couples have gotten married, and the only way they ever would have met was through me. But I didn't intentionally, I'm not a matchmaker. Drew tries to be matchmaker sometimes. That's not me, right? But I see that I'm also helping facilitate some of these coming togetherings in these whatever these circles are that many of us are involved with, the so-called truther realms. What's up, Music Holds a Secret? Good to see you. And I will say this to compliment the audience for this show, and that's what whose house? Our house, because, and I know it's jokes. Like, I understand that they're joking, but it's also kind of not a joke. And I can't remember again. I actually ordered my new computer, so when I get to Fort Worth on Thursday, I will be able to pick up my new computer setup. So I would love to be able to play the actual clip and then respond to it, because now we're dependent on my memory, which I'm sure I won't remember exactly how this was phrased, but more or less it was said of this show, this channel, that Drew and EBT said something about, well, that Benton's channel, that's just become Paul's channel, which cannot possibly be true. And this shows a lack of discernment. Why? Because Benton is very strategic, and Benton is very crafty, even if he doesn't know what he's doing. No, if this is anybody's house, it's our house. It's certainly not Paul's house. Shout out to Paul and Slade, by the way. He's welcome here anytime. But guess who's also welcome here anytime? That's right, Aluma Tommy. Now, I always reserve the right, if I'm in a one-on-one with Paul, and I know it's only going to be another 20 to 30 minutes, I'm not necessarily going to bring on another person. But it's not going to be, oh, that's Aluma Tommy, I'm not going to bring him on, but, oh, it's Rob Cleveland, I'll bring him on. It's like, no, I'm talking to Paul or anybody. I might be talking to Snafu one-on-one. I think I did that, actually. It's like, yeah, I'm finishing up with Snafu, and then I'll bring on the next person. But I try not to do much of that, if at all possible. There you go. Rob Cleveland says, tell Jeff to stop bullshitting and get with his and get his sister. That, I guess you mean for you, Rob, or are we talking some incest? I don't know. Now I'm getting a little lost in the sauce. Now I do wonder if somebody else is live. I am falling in love with my own bullshit a little bit here. We only got four in the live, it says, which is fine with me. I guess it's just more curious than anything else. I don't know what time it is though. What time is it in other time zones? I'm on Mountain Time, so it's almost 2 a.m. So that would be 3 Central, 4 Eastern. So yeah, we're pretty much, this is the deadest of the dead air, early a.m. So yeah. Now and then, after they sort of poked fun at me and tried to accuse me of this channel, has now been taken over by Paul Enslaved, which I don't believe to be further from the truth. They did point out that Yurt's live stream does become that, and I've noticed that at a certain point, if it's Paul and like 5 other people, and most of them, are frequently on Paul's panels, it does just become his show at a certain point. But that's not what happens over here. And in fact, I've got multiple live streams where the title of the live stream is going in on Jeff, who, as far as I know, is in good standing over there, as far as I can tell. Now, you do see Rob Cleveland over here. But I think Rob does appear in a little bit different form over here than he does over there, although that's probably starting to change. And I'm getting that niacin flush. Shout out to that niacin flush, by the way. But no, see, we have the positioning of Aluma Tommy. And Drew coming in one day when Aluma Tommy was over here for 12 hours and just going on and on and on and on, so much so that I even tapped out and started doing other shit. And I won't claim that I did this diabolically in a manipulative fashion, but see, and we saw an epic battle between, it was actually a 2-on-1, and Tommy held his own. And in fact, some people may have viewed that as a victory. I would say ultimately that was probably a draw, but it was very close either way. But Tommy certainly, well, I don't know, Tommy was more offensive in that battle. But, if this was Paul's house, Paul would show up and be like, mute this slave, put him in the background, and I would just be doing as I'm told. If this was Paul's house, this is our house. And I got D-Rex in the comments trying to link up with Aluma Tommy. See, I got an eye for talent, y'all. I know talent when I see it. Now, some people could be confused. Why does Benton want to talk to Tommy and all this? Well, see, however Tommy lives his life, that don't discredit his ideas. The man knows how to come on here and talk about ideas. So I'm hoping to get Tommy to do his own live stream here on the channel when I'm not around, because Tommy pointed out that he's really not available. Most of the hours I live stream, unless it goes super long, unusually long, Tommy's not around. So I'm thinking about upgrading my StreamYard where I can have, I believe, 5 administrators, but I'm always one of the 5. So we got Truther Cop and myself, so that would open up 3 administrator slots. I could slide Tommy in, and he could just do his own thing. And I reached out to CBO, shout out to Chalk Body Outline, Drew World Order, and I believe this is the day of Chalk Body's famous prediction. Which may become, that may become a big deal. Supposedly, I guess he predicted that something's going to happen with Biden, and Harris is going to take over. I'm not exactly sure what the prediction was. I was probably too busy over here yapping. There you go, Rob. Well, Rob, and I don't believe in this, now, I did at one point, I referred to the people who I was meeting over at Yurt's channel. I called them the Paul Enslaved Rejects, and that's not you, Rob. That's some of those other folks. And, I'm just not into all this possessive ownership type of thing, me personally. That's why I say this is not my house. It's certainly not Paul's house. It's not even Tommy's house, but it's more Tommy's house than Paul's house, let's be honest. And, that's what's going on over here. And I would say, and this is when I was trying to compliment the audience earlier and I got sidetracked, whatever this eventually becomes, and it may always stay this size, whatever this, whatever's going on here at this channel. It may never actually grow beyond this size, but it will always change. You'll have people Like Raz Van was a regular. Now he's gone. Whether or not he returns, who knows? I do notice when there's certain names you see for a while, and then they're here every day, and then they're gone. Like I do tend to notice that. Shout out to Commissary, by the way. Well, see, I don't operate on those levels. See, that I understand that that's a thing, Commissary. He said, to be fair, who you carry yourself in life does change how convincing you are. Fat guy talking about diet. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, and I misunderstood that comment initially. Yeah, that's the show me a human, I'll show you a hypocrite. Yeah, absolutely. You can, yeah, 100%. What's happening, Tranquil Vortex? Good to see you. I feel like this is not a movement, obviously, but whatever this is over here, this is I don't really have the words for it, but it's something important. Something's going on over here. So, the fact that you folks are showing up and contributing, even as YouTube is trying to tell me there's only 6 people over here. Only, right? Well, if it's the right 6 people, then, there you go. My StreamYard says 7, so yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, quite ill, folks. This is not doing good right now. So bear with me. This is that good pain, though. This is going to be. I'll be better for this in the long run. I can tell. So I'm trying to get CBO to work on a thumbnail for Illuma Tommy, so that if Tommy does want to, on occasion, even if it's once a week, twice a week, whatever he wants to do. And again, I haven't even talked to Tommy about this. I'm hoping this is early enough in the broadcast, maybe he'll hear this, but if he's so inclined. And then hopefully CBO will come up with some sort of thumbnail, just so the audience will know, okay, this is not Benton. Although I may be, if it goes long enough, I'll be popping in, I'm sure. Good content keeps people coming. Hats off, sir. Thank you, Chuck. I do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Well, and also I was observing when Drew had Talcott on with Provo Kid, Toilet Mole Earth, and EBT, and I think maybe and shout out to Christos yesterday who rode shotgun for quite a while yesterday. Oh, I won't go to the hospital. I just won't go, Commissary. It's not going to happen. Yeah, because I believe that's what's more hypocritical than us so-called truthers understand how nightmarish and evil the medical system is, but then it's like, okay, go to the medical system. It's like what if I was up here ranting and raving about people being on psych meds, and then the next thing you know, I'm on psych meds. It's the same thing. Like I'm going to deal with it the best way I can. Meanwhile, if you interface with the medical system itself will tell you there is no treatment for what I have. Now they would be willing to give me chemo at a certain point, and they would probably be willing to remove my pancreas at some point. Although not all of it, because that's the thing is my pancreas still creates insulin, so it actually still works on some level. And in fact, this is, most people are not willing to go through what I'm going through, and this is most likely what I'm going through with my gallbladder right now, in the form of pain and severe nausea. This is most likely a step towards healing of my actual, probably my gallbladder is going to become somewhere near normal in the near future. And I think it's probably very, very, very infected. And I know certainly my kidneys I've had a severe kidney infection for quite some time now, but although that's cleared up to some extent, as well as the bladder. Basically, my entire urinary system has been infected, as well as I believe my gallbladder has a severe infection. So I think that infection is starting to clear up. So part of that is my body's pushing out. What would happen with an infected gallbladder is all of that bile, and I probably still have some gallstones in there. all of that's also going to become infected and even like putrid, right? So this is, I would believe what's happening now is my body is like finally like, okay, he's well enough. Let's just go ahead and start pushing this stuff out. So I think that, but see, most people go to the doctor. Doctor says, oh, your shit's all gunked up in your gallbladder. Take out the gallbladder. No, I'm keeping my motherfucking gallbladder. I need a gallbladder. It serves a function. It does not need to be removed. But most people don't have the strength and the wherewithal to be sick as a dog for however long it takes for their gallbladder to potentially heal itself. So they go to the medical system. All the medical system does is remove the gallbladder. So when I was in stage 4 chronic kidney disease recently, I dealt with it myself. Most people are not able to go through what they would have to go through to go from stage 4 to stage 2, which is what I've done. If I go to the medical system at stage 4, all they ever do is put you on dialysis. So I would be permanently on a machine that would take over the functioning of my kidneys, and I would be on that machine 2 to 3 times a week for the rest of my motherfucking life. I'm not going on dialysis. See, what is happening here is, and I'm going to become a bit indignant. I am tough as motherfucking nails. What the average person experiences at the level of their mental strength and toughness and mental energy has nothing to do with me. You pluck a random person out of the general populace, they can't do what I'm doing right now while I drive a motherfucking truck, mining fiat, doing live streams while I'm doing it. I'm one of the most productive people in society while I'm the doctor, because my body heals itself. I broke my foot. The doc didn't heal my foot. My body healed my foot. My foot healed itself. The doctor don't heal my gallbladder. My gallbladder's healing itself. The doctor doesn't heal my kidneys. My kidneys healed themselves to some degree. They'll probably never be what they were, but they've already gone from what I estimate. I know I was in stage 4. I'm probably at about a stage 2, and I may never get to stage 1 again. But go to the medical system. Fuck you. If you think that way, fuck you. That's something about you. You're realizing that you ain't Benton, and you can't do what Benton can do. So if you was Benton, you'd be at the hospital. You'd have been at the hospital 9 months ago if you was Benton. Benton didn't go to the hospital 9 months ago. You would have gone to the hospital 9 months ago. Now, not all of you, but most of you. You're not me. You can't be me. You can't do what I can do. Quit applying what would apply to you to me. That's a non-motherfucking starter. Now, maybe I'm getting trolled, but this stuff needs to be said. It's very important. When you go on the internet and research how horrible gallbladder problems are, and people talk about the pain and the nausea, and they go to the doctor, I'm experiencing exactly what they describe, and I'm not going to the doctor, and I'm not going to go to the doctor. And at some point, I'm going to feel fine. Meanwhile, most people, not only would they go to the doctor, they damn sure wouldn't wake up in a big rig at a truck stop and roll out and drive 500 motherfucking miles while doing live streams. They're not me. You're not me. I got it like that. Deal with it. You can't do what I can do. You can't go live in the streets for 6 straight years with nothing. And then just one day say, hey, I think I'll take my happy ass to the Salvation Army. Hey, I think I'll get a job at the airport and ride a bus 45 minutes each way. Dude, most people, if you took their car away from them and said you got to go to work on the city bus, couldn't deal with just that. So go fuck yourselves if you think Benton is like you. I ain't nothing like you on those levels. I have built up my mental strength and my fortitude to levels beyond what most of you will ever experience. I reached the point of physical motherfucking exhaustion. It took me 7 straight days of lying down resting to get back to normal. Imagine being so tired that you rest and it takes 7 days to get back to normal. Because when you think you're tired, You're nowhere near tired. Meanwhile, I won't, if you ask me how I'm doing, I feel like shit and I might be exhausted. I'll never say, I'm tired today. How you doing, Benton? Man, I'm tired. I have never said that in my life. Hey, Benton, how you doing? I'm doing great. Sick as a motherfucking dog. It's mental. It's mental. I can choose how to face these things. I can apply my mental strength, my focus, and my will. But you want to talk about Leo? I will, Jack. I am willing. I'm doing it. But yeah, I recognize that most people, yeah, if they get sick like I am, they're going to the doctor because they're mentally weak, and that's okay. It's okay to not be some sort of insane person at the level of your mental focus and mental strength. It's okay. I wouldn't want to live in a world of psychos. That is, I am a literal maniac on some level. That's who you're talking to, who you're listening to. You know, and you know, I don't really want to go off like that, but I don't feel well, and I think it's important. Like, this is who the fuck I am. But I understand that whatever I do in the real world, we're all self-centered and we're all selfish, whether we admit it or not. All I'm doing is holding up a mirror, and people are realizing what they would be like in my scenario, which is fine. But my body's healing itself. Now, some of this stuff can never fully heal. My pancreas, if the scar tissue is in there like I think it is, it can't heal. Now, can the cancer heal? Of course it can. Those cancer cells can die. Of course they can, if they're even in there. I got a worst case scenario in my mind. So yeah, that's what I have to do. And at some point, I am going to fuck off and go to the Rick Simpson oil. It's going to be, if you read the Rick Simpson oil protocol, eventually the person is doing just insane amounts of Rick Simpson oil. They start out with the size of a rice, like half a size of a grain of rice. And by the end of the 90-day protocol or whatever it is, they're taking like literal grams at a time of the Rick Simpson oil. That may very well kill whatever cancers may exist within my body. Right. But I'm not identified with whatever. I'm not identified with whatever illness is in my body. But I guarantee you, my entire urinary system is infected. It was severely infected in the recent past. I'm pretty sure my gallbladder is very infected, and the medical system cannot do anything other than remove my gallbladder. Full stop. I'm not having surgery to have my gallbladder removed. I'm not doing that. And the fact is, I have something called a lymphatic system. And the fact that my appendix hasn't burst, really, that's what it comes down to. Either my appendix is going to burst or it's not. Meanwhile, medical science claims that they don't even really know what in the fuck an appendix is. I think the appendix is what the spleen uses in a worst case scenario. The spleen is like, all right, you know, I'm all fucked off. By the way, I had a severely enlarged spleen. My lymphatic system is still not normal yet, right? But that's the barometer. It's not my gallbladder. Fuck that. People are just pussies, really, is what it comes down to. Oh, doc, I'm sick and fucking nauseated. You got to get me past this pain, doc. I can't deal with it. Okay, well, we're just going to cut you open and start taking body parts out. Fuck that. Fuck that. Now, if I start running a high fever, that's how I know my appendix is all fucked up, and I probably will have to go to the doctor, because if my appendix bursts, I'll probably die. But even then, I may not go. I might just say, well, I guess it's R.I.P. Benton, and maybe I'll just die of a burst appendix. I don't fucking know. We'll see. In my mind, I don't think I'm ever going. But it's like, am I really just going to lay in the truck and die of a burst appendix? I don't know. I guess I won't really know until that happens. I don't think that's ever going to happen, personally. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Yeah. Well, Austin, so you're not living none of this, Austin, and see, you're getting it from me at some point. You can talk all this theory and hypothesis all you want. You're not applying any of it to your life, sir. So it's null and void as far as how you live. This shit's all null and void. You're not applying none of this. You're not. So you can talk around, you can get shit-faced all day, every day, and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You got no ability to practice anything I'm talking about. None. No ability. Go set a goal and then meet a goal. You think you're going to do that drinking every day? Meanwhile, how do I know? Because recently I was drinking every motherfucking day. You know, set a fucking life goal, set a life goal and go accomplish it while you're a fucking drunk. And by the way, was very recently a fucking drunk. So I know exactly what that is. This ain't betting on his high horse. This is, you can come in here and type whatever words you want. It don't mean nothing because you can't apply any of it to your life. And who's going to listen to you, by the way? Why would we listen to a drunk? I mean, think about it. Get a hold of yourself, sir. Now, I don't care if you're a drunk, but instead of trying to talk about ideas and like you some sort of kind of source of information, you might just say, well, I'm nothing other than a daily drunk, but here's how I see it. Because somebody might see your comments and misunderstand what's going on and be like, oh, this is a person with some wisdom who can help me. No, that's a fucking drunk who gets drunk every day. And drunks are the worst, by the way. Meth heads may be the scum of the earth. Drunks are the worst. The worst. And again, I was one of you very, very recently. But yeah, let's go type advice into the internet while we get shit faced every day. And to avoid dealing with our lives, by the way, I was trying to kill myself with my drinking. What are you attempting to accomplish, Mr. Murphy, when you consume the poison every day? And it's poison. You're poisoning your body. Now, you may not be me at the level of you might be able to drink every day for years on end. Believe me, I've known for a long time, well, I don't have the ability to drink every day. It's too hard on me. So when I drank every day, I knew, okay, well, I'm just obviously destroying my body here. Obviously. So you're doing the same thing. It's just going to take a lot longer. But make no mistake, if you continue on in the way you're going, you are destroying your physical body. So if somebody needs advice on how to destroy their physical body, go to Austin Murphy. For other advice, you probably don't need to go to him. Probably don't. So get your shit together, Mr. Murphy, or shut the fuck up trying to talk like you know some shit. Show me, don't tell me, Mr. Murphy. Show me, don't tell me, because talk is cheap, motherfucker. Get your shit together. How about you? Well, you're drunk, so of course it's fun. Yeah, because it's all silly, it's all fun and games when somebody's intoxicated. And I think I am gonna just have a breathalyzer shipped to an Amazon locker if you'll tell me generally where what Amazon locker you would like to use. I think we're just gonna I'm gonna have a breathalyzer sent to you, and then every time you come on stream, we'll have you breathalyzed, so we know what level of BAC we're interfacing with. So I'm thinking probably around a 0.24 most of the time. I think most of the time you're on stream, you're at about a 0.24. 3 times the legal limit for driving. Because I know I was mobbing around at about 0.24. Well, I do talk all the time, Jimmy. What's interesting is that as I observe those words come out of my mouth, that's the thought in my mind is that I'm the one who talks the most. So yeah, of course I'm aware of that. But the fact that I talk a lot doesn't negate me at the level of talk is cheap. See, there's a thing called a paradox. That could also be a dichotomy, I believe. I'd have to look up the meaning of the word dichotomy. But that's what a simple mind does. A simple mind, and all our minds do that. We go to the one thing that we think will negate the idea that we're hearing, the concept. And my mind does that as well. I'm just not, I'm far too intelligent to think that that's somehow applies, Because by the way, pretty much anything can be debunked. If someone makes an assertion, there's always something that can be said there's almost always something that can be said that appears to negate that statement. So yeah, I know when I say talk is cheap, I understand that I talk a lot. But I also recognize that the fact that I talk a lot does not negate the fact that talk is cheap. But see, I'm saying talk is cheap in a context. The context being anybody can claim credit and say things, but then are they able to demonstrate? So Austin can talk about having some sort of understanding of certain concepts, but the fact is he can only demonstrate his understanding through his actions. He can't actually, the understanding the theory is not enough. See? And when I come on here and speak about things, I'm mostly speaking about things I've done personally in my life. So on that level, I would say, well, if I have shown it, Jimmy, then it's not cheap, see? So it's kind of for the person to have discernment and to figure out the context in which these phenomena manifest. So back to the EBT thing, and I think there was some confusion. I think there was some confusion at the level of when I mentioned that, you know, I had yelled at EBT and we had a bit of a battle, and I had said something about I'd watched this documentary about Wilt Chamberlain, the famous basketball player who played center and he was over 7 feet tall and was the dominant player in the NBA. But then here came Lou Alcindor, who later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was also over 7 feet tall and came into the NBA and became the dominant player after Wilt Chamberlain. And now they weren't the same age. Lou, you know, Kareem was younger than Wilt. Well, look at me and EBT. I'm older than EBT, right? Well, look at the astrology, and that's where I tied this in with Christos when I was talking to Christos. And I might have said Tommy. I meant Christos. Sometimes my brain does that. But, I was talking about that Chamberlain was a Leo, or I guess he's passed away now. Wilt Chamberlain, the Leo, was defeated by, and I mean, when I say defeated by, he was eclipsed by and defeated by by Lou Alcindor, the Aries. Well, EBT's sun in Aries, Benton's sun in Leo. Also, EBT's younger than I am. Well, the fact is, the main reason why other than age, why Lou Alcindor was able to defeat Wilt Chamberlain one-on-one, and I mean, like, dunked on him. You can go watch these videos. Now, I understand sports are fake and all of that, but, you know, I'm using this in a specific context. Just Chamberlain Alcindor just was, by the end of it, was just clowning on Wilt, man, just dunking all over him, man. Became comical at a certain point. But then Wilt would also block the skyhook at times. So these were two, you know, obviously worthy adversaries. But you know, Alcindor, the Aries, eventually eclipsed Chamberlain, the Leo. And I believe that's the thing. Well, the fact is, EBT, and the reason why Alcindor was able to do this, because he's smarter, he's more intelligent than Wilt Chamberlain. He has a bigger brain. And a lot of this stuff is mental. Even though Chamberlain was arguably had superior physicality. So I might have superior mental energies and focus to EBT, but he's got the bigger brain. Part of being me is I detected very early on that he had a bigger brain than me. We already know that he's the big brain. And if I go head to head with him, he will eclipse me in the end. That's just how that goes. Nothing I can do about it, really. And you really saw it. See, EBT doesn't show off his big brain, but if you want to see him showing off his big brain, go watch him talking to. He's talking with Jack Talcott on Get Chalked Up, and EBT's effortlessly interfacing with all of these various concepts in real time. Just he's clearly the most intelligent out of all those folks, but he shows it. See, I can say talk is cheap. Well, EBT showed through his speech that he is the superior intellect, and I am a pseudo intellectual. We had Christos on here calling Rogan a pseudo intellectual. Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that Joe Rogan's birthday is August 11th, I believe. It's somewhere right around there. Mine's the 12th. You know, I'm also a pseudo intellectual, but you think I don't know I'm a pseudo intellectual? Of course I know that. And see, now we're getting the look at what Murphy's doing in the chat. Get your shit together, sir. Get your shit together. Get off the booze, set some goals, and achieve them, and then I won't have anything to say, and then you can go right back to boozing. But if you really think you can be effective in the real world while you're fucking shit-faced every day, no, you cannot. Prove me wrong. Set a goal and go achieve it. Set a goal and go achieve it. Go, whatever that may be. Go learn a new sport. Go learn a new skill in the real world. Whatever you want, go pick something and accomplish it while you're fucking shit-faced every day. And by the way, while you're living like a person, you're living like I lived in college, but I didn't drink nearly as much as you do. This is why, by the way, you missed it since you're shit-faced all the time. You didn't understand why I said, did you go to college? You thought I actually was curious about whether or not I don't care if you went to college or not. I was trying to make a point. But because you're drunk, you couldn't even realize that I was trying to make a point. So the point never got made, Mr. Murphy. But fortunately, I have a memory, and I'm not intoxicated, so I can actually later on I can cover these topics when I'm soloing, sir. I asked you if you'd been to college because when I observe you and the way you live visually, it reminds me of when I was in college, except I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't a daily drunk when I was in college. But other than that, the staying up all night at your age, staying up all night, you're living like a person in their early 20s who's at college. You're living like a college sophomore, sir. That's how you're living. You're living like I lived when I was a sophomore in college, and like all my buddies did. Some of whom were in fraternities. Yeah. But yeah, again, prove me wrong, and I'll happily be like, wow, I was totally wrong. Look at Mr. Murphy. Fucking, he went from bitch pressing, I don't know, 225, and now he can bitch press 315, and he did it while he's drunk every day. Look at that. That's amazing. I don't care. Just set a goal and do it. Look at the chat. I'm screenshotting this. Look at the live chat. I mean, if that doesn't prove that I'm right on the money, I don't know what does, dude. Just look at that. Wow. Wow. See, I ain't Paul. You ain't getting no feminine care over here. You're getting the suck it up, don't be a pussy. Suck it up, don't be a pussy. Get your shit together. What are you doing? Meanwhile, if I had somebody in my life that would have talked to me like that, I would have just said, well, I'm drinking myself to death. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm checking out of this motherfucker through alcohol. Because why? Because Benton used his strong will and decided 15 years ago, it's a bad idea to lie to myself within my own brain. So Benton set a rule for himself called never bullshit himself, which I never bullshit myself. So when I was drinking myself to death very recently, and somebody said, hey, man, suck it up, don't be a pussy. How about you get your shit together? What are you even doing? I would have said, isn't it obvious? I'm drinking myself to death. What are you talking about? Like, clearly that's what I'm doing, because I'm certainly not foolish enough to think I can drink this much alcohol every day and not die. Now, it will take longer to kill you probably, Mr. Murphy, especially if you're Irish. Good Lord, you could probably live 80 years before you die of your alcoholism. But it is killing you. It is poisoning your body, right? If you think that ain't killing you, you're sadly mistaken. I'm Cherokee. I'm just enough Cherokee Indian that if I drink every day, I will die within probably less than a year. Yippee skippy. Good for Benton. Yeah. Oh, I'm not sober, and I'm not telling you to get sober. I'm not saying get sober. I'm saying get your shit together. I'm not sober. Are you kidding me? I don't believe in sobriety. In fact, the person that I knew, that I've ever known in my life, who was the most effective in their daily life at getting shit done, smoked marijuana all day, every day, was a heavy marijuana user all day, every day, and was the most effective, productive person I've ever met in my life. Oh, dude, if you can be very effective and productive while you're shit-faced, go for it. I'm saying you're going to have to show me. I don't believe you. I'm not taking your word for it that you can be very effective in the real world while you're getting shit faced every day. I don't believe you. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not going to say I'm wrong until you prove me wrong. So some people say, oh, marijuana, it makes you fucking lazy and people who are potheads can't get shit done. And I'm like, well, that's true for a lot of them, but I watched the most productive person I've ever known was high all day, every day. He was probably autistic. You want to talk about autism? I don't care if you drink. You think I care if you drink? Destroy yourself. That's your business. When I was destroying myself, it's my business. This belonged to me, don't it? Don't all this belong to me? Ain't that my choice? If I want to, if I'm like, well, I don't think it's spiritually, I don't think I can just self-delete in one act. Meanwhile, I'm not. Believe me, I've got to. If I wanted to do that, I would never be one of these bozos who attempts it and fails. You kidding me? That ain't gonna happen. I would be successful if I chose to do that thing that I can't even really say the name of. But no, I just thought I found a loophole. Like, oh, okay, well, I'll just get shit faced all day, every day, and eventually will pass away. So here we go. Because I didn't want to be here. Because I gave up. I didn't care about anything. I gave up. I gave up on whatever this is. But it's funny how that works because I have such a strong will to live, and I have an actual purpose for my life. What's your purpose, Mr. Murphy? Do you have any idea what your life's purpose is? I know exactly what mine is. Do you know what yours is? Because it's certainly not the same for all of us. Meanwhile, this world will happily, inform you of your purpose. It will happily say, well, instead of you doing all this internal work you need to do to necessarily understand what the fuck is going on with you. And that's how I know you're not taking care of your stuff, because you're drinking every day. If you were doing what you needed to do, would you really have a desire to drink? Chuck, by the way, Chuck, who has a view of himself as this person who, Chuck's view of himself, he exists in relation to alcoholism and the 12 steps. And in his mind, he believes that he can only stay off of booze by doing 12 steps. Well, if you believe that, Chuck, that is true. You're creating that for yourself. That's bullshit. For me, that's bullshit. It's not bullshit for you because that's what you believe, which is fine. We all get to choose what's believed. But it's funny how when my body said, wow, we can't drink alcohol anymore, I don't have a drinking problem all of a sudden. Isn't that amazing? But part of that also is I already knew my life's purpose. So when I did get off the booze, now I can just go back, and I do have a strong will to live. Now I can just go back into my life's purpose, which is what? To be of service. Well, I don't want to be of service. Well, who cares what you want? Of what relevance is it? That's ego, by the way. When discovering being in a so-called truth community, discovering that one's life purpose, such as myself, is literally to be of service. Ego is to say, well, I don't want to be of service. Well, that's what a child would say. Well, why do I have to be of service? Well, wait a minute, that's your purpose. That's not. Do you think you get to have a life's purpose that you also would want to do? I don't want to be of service. Well, who cares? Who cares? Deal with it, sir. Put on your big boy pants, sir, and deal with it. Okay. Now that I'm not going to drink myself to death, I guess I'll just deal with it. Because if I go back to drinking, I just know, well, that is death. I might as well. It's the same thing as self-deletion. See, I'm past the loophole phase. I've reached the point in my physicality. I can no longer consider that a spiritual loophole. Now it's just, oh, that's the exact same thing as a gun to the head. Same thing. If I go back to drinking. Wow, look at the live chat. Mods, if you feel the need to moderate, please do, because this is getting psychotic at this point. And that's a demon, is what that is. Well, what is alcohol? It's a demon, man. What do you think daily drinking is? That's a demon. That's an unclean spirit. What that is. It's demonic oppression. So the demon The demon wants to stay in. The demon wants to stick around. Thank you, mods. And we don't want to moderate. We don't want to moderate, but occasionally it's necessary because maybe somebody else wants to talk. That's a demon, and the demon. Here's how the demon avoids hearing the truth. The demon talks. Because I can tell you many times, I've had demons try to out-talk me. I've had demons try to over-talk me. Because when you're speaking, when God is using me as a vessel and delivering a message to a person who's infested with demons, part of how the demon deals with what it doesn't want to hear is it talks. If you listen to what the demon is saying, the demonized person is saying, because I've done this, I have unsheathed my sword, meaning the word of God, by the way. I've unsheathed my sword many times in demonic warfare against demons, in a literal spiritual warfare. Because when somebody's living in the streets like I was and has an actual religious, and it shouldn't even say religious, when one has a conversion experience and comes to Christ and is filled with the Holy Spirit, you think these demons out here that inhabit these human beings, you think those demons can't recognize that? The so-called Christ in spirit, if that's what that is, the Christ consciousness. What about the Bible? And this is not a Bible channel, but I am a preacher. What's it say in the Bible? Here's Jesus mobbing around, traveling, preaching, teaching, and doing what? Casting out demons. Yes, indeedy. Oh, is it 55? Well, I guess we better slow our roll. Casting out demons. Sure enough. Well, so at one point, here's Jesus, and comes across some man who's so demonized that he physically attacks everybody that comes by. So in the town, nobody can really even go to that little side of town because there's a man infested with demons will become physically violent. Now here comes the Lord, and the demonic spirit in the man recognizes the Lord and says, "Hey," and gets fearful and says, "Hey, man, it's not the time yet," because the demon thinks here's Christ to make the spirit go out of the man, and then we get into the whole walking in the dry place, seeking rest and finding none. That's when the man repents, and now the demon, because of legalese, has to come up out of its home, the energy sphere of the human. And now it's walking in the dry place, seeking rest and finding none. So that spirit, here come Christ, that spirit don't want to be made to come up out of that person. See? Well, I'm not Christ. So when I'm in the streets around all these demonized people, where do you think those people live? So the demon, its home is the person. The person lives, the low-level drug addict who's inhabited by these wicked spirits, unclean spirits and demonic spirits, lives in the streets. How this works. So when Benton is fresh on the, very recently with the coming to Jesus and starting to, work within the context of spiritual warfare, and Benton I was intentionally taught specific lessons in my path of how to wage this spirit, how to actually wage spiritual combat against these forces. Principalities, y'all. I don't war against this flesh. That's what, and by the way, that's why that's part of the reason I don't go to the medical system. I don't war. My war is not with this flesh, sir. My war is against Satan himself. My war is against Satan and his minions. I don't love God. I hate Satan. I don't love what's good. I hate what's evil. I am that. And EBT astutely pointing out, are you saying Satan's going to drive out Satan? See? Very, very good. Because if I'm inhabited and if I've got any demons left, maybe that's what's talking to you guys today. When I'm talking to y'all in a specific tone of voice, that's probably my wrath. I'm probably inhabited by a wicked spirit of wrath. It's probably it's probably curled up in my gallbladder. And it's probably coming to the surface now because it knows it's got to fight tooth and nail if it wants to stay in that gallbladder. How about you? Because as far as I'm concerned, As far as I'm concerned, all of this that I'm experiencing is that. This is a spirit, man. So whatever's caused my gallbladder to become this infected, that's a spirit. That's a wicked spirit. That's an unclean spirit. That's a demonic spirit. That's how that works. What if I have pancreatic cancer, what is that? That's a fucking wicked spirit. So what do we look at? We look at somebody like Wizard, who wants to claim to be Christ-like and thinks he's in touch with Jesus all these years. Meanwhile, he's apparently just beat cancer. Well, he's obviously still infested by wicked spirits, demonic spirits, and unclean spirits. And you see it when he just goes off on Jack Talcott. Well, and then you got Paul and Slave sitting back, just trying to very gently point out in a loving, feminine way, hey, Wizard, yeah, you've beaten this cancer, but here comes the next cancer. If you're going to think you're going to, build up these levels of acid in your body through this vitriol you're spewing, through this hatred that you're spewing. And then you got EBT pointing out, Talcott, wouldn't that be Satan driving out Satan? See, Satan can't drive out Satan because it just can't happen. So I can't defeat Satan at the level of my own wrath. I can only defeat Satan by submitting to the will of the Most High, and I can only defeat Satan within my own energy sphere. That's the only way it can happen. So in fact, Satan will defeat me if I'm so in touch with wrath, if I'm so in touch with my own hatred of Shaitan that I can't overcome it enough to release, so that eventually, if I overcome that, and I will, by the way, in the name of the Most High, and there is power in the name of Jesus. I don't care what you folks say. Believe whatever you want to believe. There is power in the name of the Lord Christ Jesus. I have been delivered from wicked spirits, unclean spirits, and demonic spirits. But as long as I'm willing to engage in wrath at the level of my behavior, the spirit gets to say, hey, God, hey, Creator, I have legal claim to this energy sphere because this bozo continuously and regularly lashes out in wrath towards his fellow man. And instead of being loving and gentle and kind to Mr. Murphy, he has a spirit of wrath. He's still righteousness. Yeah, the message is rooted in righteousness, so what? Who cares? But I don't think it's a coincidence that these are the topics on my mind today, while I'm very much observing and in tune with that portion of my physicality where most likely the most deeply rooted demon, the one that's been in me the longest, the spirit of wrath. That's where it lives. And that spirit knows that it's on the verge of having no choice but to come up out of me. Because it ain't up to that spirit. Why? Because we're the ones with free will, you bozos. We are. Satan ain't got free will. Angels ain't got free will. Demonic spirits ain't got free will. That's us. And if Satan became jealous of humans and rebelled, that's why. Meanwhile, Satan couldn't rebel unless God allowed it. As far as I can tell, that is the spiritual warfare. Now, I have all these people in these so-called truth communities that don't care nothing about Jesus and don't want to hear about it. That's fine. But almost nobody disagrees when I say this is a spiritual war being waged between the forces of good and the forces of evil, and that we humans are literally the battlefield and the substrate. We are. Our energy spheres. We are the battlefield individually. And the only thing I control is whether or not, at the end of the day, every knee shall bow. Whatever my essence is will, in the final analysis, either serve the Most High or it will serve Shaitan. There is no other alternative. There is no middle ground. So as much as we want to talk about the Tao and the middle way, that's all great and fine at the level of a spiritual practice. But in the final analysis, that shit don't exist when it comes to salvation, judgment, all of these things. It don't matter. It doesn't mean anything. And my creative force never lies dormant. I'm birthing something new into the realm every moment of my entire life. And every thought and my every action either serves the Most High or it serves what I would refer to as Satan, if that's a discrete being. It's obviously debatable if that's a thing or not. But I think we can all agree that evil exists. Still 65? Nope. Finally made it up to 75. All right. Yeah. And see, I've experienced this before. See, what's interesting, Jonathan, is that, see, I've already had these battles, but I've had them in the physical realm. I've had them in the skid rows of various cities. See, there's nothing that this internet can do to me at the level of spiritual warfare. Literally nothing. Your attacks cannot ever bear fruit against me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. But I know if you're going to come on the metaverse and start claiming Christ and praising God and invoking the name of Christ, and that's how I know it's real, by the way. I don't know it's real. I know it's real based on how nobody cares if I come on here and talk about Buddha. Nobody cares if I come on here and talk about Krishna. Nobody cares if I come on here and talk about the Dalai Lama or anything other than Jesus. Nobody cares. Go to talking about Christ Jesus, and here come the demonic attacks. That's how it works. Except I've done this in the streets, where the demon can walk right up into my energy sphere. When the demonized person can walk right up into my energy sphere. See? You can't do that through the metaverse, as far as I can tell. You can't attack me the way I've already been attacked. So the attacks I've already withstood. And what's interesting about withstanding spiritual attack, what I've experienced is that once I prove myself on those levels with my ability to wield the sword meaning the word of God, by the way, that goeth out of his mouth like a sharp sword, Revelation chapter 19, starting with verse 11, which is my favorite part of the Bible. And if you ever wonder if a person's given over to demonic spirits, wicked spirits, and unclean spirits, just pull out your Bible or pull up your app or Google Psalm 23 and just start repeating those verses out loud, and then observe the person that you think is demonized, because they can't take that shit. I'm going to read it right now for the demons. Here you go, demons. Now, this ain't a Bible channel, so bear with me. I think this is important. Let's read Psalm 23 and watch the demons chimp out in the chat, because they hate this one. And by the way, this is how I know there's some truth in the Quran. Is at one point I memorized some verses from the Quran, and I used them in a specific spoken format to actually drive some of the wicked spirits out of me. And I've observed how other people, I would actually, when I was under attack, I would just start to say these verses I had memorized. By the way, shout out to Salman Rushdie and the so-called satanic verses, by the way. And the demon had no choice but to flee. Oh, and shout out to Paul Enslaved. The wicked flee when none pursue. Psalm 23, KJV, of course. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. See, Satan can't dwell in the house of the Lord forever. These wicked spirits are beyond redemption. They can't enter into the house of the Lord forever. I can, if. You can, if. And that's why them demons hate them verses, because they know their time is limited. And these wicked spirits, demonic spirits, and unclean spirits are doing all the damage they can do because they know it's still their time. But they know their time's limited. And that at some point, the jig will be up because Christ defeated Satan at Calvary. Satan is the defeated foe. That's how this works. The blood of Jesus, that's a real thing. Let's go see what the demons had to say about Psalm 23. Oh, now I'm being called a tweaker. Yep, never done that, and I'm from the South, sir. We don't have skinheads in the South. So yeah, I shaved my head, but it has nothing to do with that West Coast skinhead culture. I'm from Arkansas, buddy. My hometown's 75% black. No actual American History X skinhead would ever live in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Nice try. See how they attack? Nice try, sir. Maybe I'll go to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I'll poly with my peeps in the slums of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the city limits of which are entirely a slum. Go ahead and Google the Hut near Pine Bluff, Arkansas. My grandmama founded that business in the '60s, and you can go do the Google Street View of what that area looks like. So I've already established a headquarters. They'd probably let me take it over, and I could probably live in the hut and run it as a business. Probably, because that's my family owns and operates that bad boy on Cherry Street, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. But y'all don't know nothing about Cherry Street, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, now do you? You don't know nothing about the Church's Chicken in Pine Bluff, Arkansas down the street. Y'all don't know nothing about that. So try again. Never done meth once. I am meth. My body makes those chemicals. All I got to do is not sleep, and I become manic. And it's like I'm on stimulants. Meanwhile, if I do actual stimulants, like those times when I used to take ephedrine, it has the opposite effect on me. It actually calms me down and chills me out. Whereas something like chamomile actually kind of hypes me up. I get the opposite effect on a lot of things. Try again. Try again, demons. Now, since we're preaching, we're going to have to go read. We're going to have to read something else to them. And I do appreciate the regular audience for bearing with me. So thank you. Revelation chapter 19, KJV. Let me go ahead and text to speech it. Revelation chapter 19, KJV. Oh, my YouTube's for my Revelation chapter 19, KJV. Oh, yeah. Start with verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image of the beast. Oh, and them that had worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with his flesh. Take that, demons. These demons know that's their fate. These demons know that that's what awaits them. And they know that I've got a chance of not being in that group that gets cast alive into the fire of brimstone. Now, you don't have to believe in a literal hell. But if you think there's going to be a separation of the wheat and the tares, what is that? That is the separation of the... What I just preached on, that is the separation of the wheat from the tares. That's what that is. So the only way to make the cut is to not be in the group that what may be a metaphor. I believe the Bible to be largely metaphorical. If this is a metaphor being cast alive into a fire, that's the separation of the wheat and the tares. That's okay. We're throwing away and destroying and burning off that part of us that's not good enough to make the cut. The wicked spirit, the unclean spirit, the demonic spirit, that's the spirits in this realm that are not good enough to make the cut and to go back to God. Meanwhile, when I was born into this realm, I was an innocent child. I'm trying to get back to where I started in this realm. See, it was like Dick Gregory says, if the child comes into this realm clean and pure, the child learns how to be wicked and evil and depraved by watching your ass and by watching me. See, I am that lowly, wretched creature on some level. And I don't identify as a sinner, but when somebody says we're all sinners, I think that's what that means is when the child comes into this realm, the child becomes wicked and decadent and depraved by watching us, by following our example, see. When I came into this world, I was everything I need to be. I was everything I already was. I was what I am. Now I'm fallen and fallen away and in a state of sin to some degree. Because I learned it by watching other people and by interfacing with other humans in this realm. See, we take the spirit, we take the innocent child and corrupt it. So what's all this drag queen story hour? All that is a mirror held up to the rest of us. Hey, this is what you're doing to children on some level. Now, this is just the overt in your face form, and this person let me pass them, obviously. They're going to hold me back, but they won't ever allow me to pass them. See, I'm a sitting duck because I'm governed at 71 miles an hour. So they're never going to let me pass them. Now, do I have the control over myself enough to just deal with my emotions around this person? It's going to force me to go 67 because they won't let me pass them. Yeah. But, whatever that is within you that's wanting to attack me, whatever that is will be destroyed. Period. The question is, will that, whatever that is, also take the human with it? Whatever is our human soul and essence that is redeemable, will the wicked spirit succeed? Will Shaitan succeed in seeing that soul or spirit corrupted to the point that it also gets destroyed in the fire? And I can't speak for God, but do you think the Creator even cares? I'm not sure. Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't care about that. Yeah, who believes in a book, by the way? I don't believe in a book. See, you can never defeat me unless you straw man and ad hominem. You're talking to a man who had a book forced down his throat and don't believe in that book. I don't believe in the Bible. I believe in parts of it. If you think I'm foolish enough to accept that I'm supposed to believe that the King James version of the Bible in the English language is what I'm supposed to live by, you're out of your fucking mind. No, sir, no, ma'am. I never agreed to believe in that book. And I've skipped a very important step in my life, by the way. I said Jesus never created a bureaucracy, but it seems to me like there is one more box I need to check that I've never checked that I intend to in the very near future. Now, maybe a smart person can deduce what that would be. But the fact is, unless I live in submission to the will and the law of the Most High God, I'm a slave to Satan. Period. Anybody who's not submitted to the will of the Most High God and the law of the Most High God, this is how it works. Now, you don't have to believe in the concept of a Most High. You can say, well, I reject that concept. That's fine. But if you believe in a spiritual battle between the forces of good and the forces of evil, the fact is the only way to not be identified with evil is to submit to good, period, through your creative force in each moment. Get out of your imagination and get into the now, as Jack Talcott might say. So Satan, or evil, will certainly want to convince me to be distracted by this world and to be a so-called sense enjoyer down in their lower chakras. Meanwhile, if that's my spirit of wrath down there in my gallbladder region, well, that's a general vicinity of that's somewhere general vicinity of chakra number 2, ain't it? Orange, that orange chakra, ain't that what that is? And also, yeah, that's what that is, right? The solar plexus. Although you get into the heart, also the heart chakra going to be somewhere above there, the solar plexus, I would think. So yeah, lower solar plexus, right below the solar plexus, I should say. And then upper portion of the solar plexus would be the heart chakra. But how many of you work with your chakra systems in real time? I do. But oh, believe in a book. Well, I'm sitting here talking to you about how I circulate my sexual energies through my chakra system in real time, and I've been doing that for years now, and that's how I overcame the porn and the womanizing and the being down in my lower chakras as a sense enjoyer. Because Benton's a lot of things. Benton's never had a problem finding sexual partners. I can assure you, that's never been a problem for old Benton here. Probably celibate for years now. Probably will be for the rest of my life. Yippee skippy, yay for Benton. Yep, solar plexus. Meanwhile, guess where the old pancreas is? Solar plexus. Guess what? Back when Benton lifted all them weights, and some of my favorite exercises, since I am an athlete, and I am, out of all the grandkids of my famous ancestor, I'm the one that looks the most like him. So I am, an above average athlete on some level. So some of my favorite exercises were Olympic style exercises. Power, not just strength. Mass equals acceleration. What is it? Mass equals force times acceleration, or something like that. So not only how much weight can one lift statically, how quickly can one accelerate a weight? That's literally what a vertical jump is. Benton had a halfway decent vertical for a white boy back in the day. White boy sprinter speed, same thing. That's power. So I did a lot of hanging, clean, and presses. Well, so I overdeveloped my solar plexus muscles. It became comical at a certain point because I never had abs, but I had this like ridiculous solar plexus. It looked almost comical. Then one day I decided to pick up a clutch for a big rig that probably weighed somewhere around 80, maybe 100 pounds. And since my shoulders are not that strong, instead of putting it on my shoulder, I actually just picked it up very easily. But I held it with my arms against my solar plexus as I walked across the yard and put it in my big rig to transport to another facility. And probably further damaged my pancreas, because my research indicates that not only is the pancreas damaged through certain means internally, it can also be directly damaged physically. So I probably also damaged it physically. Yay, way to go, you dumbo. Because I'm really fucking stupid all at the same time. I do a lot of dumb shit. And that was a dumb thing. Talk about ego. Oh, I'm going to show these dumb rednecks that I'm cock strong, even though I'm 160 pounds. I'm going to show them. That's what I was at the time. I'm going to show them that I'm cock strong Arkansas white boy here, just like them. Well, do you think they give a fuck? Of course they don't. They don't care. That's ego, Jack. Why would they care? Benton just said that his every thought and his every action either serves God or serves Satan. So I can't be a slave to Satan as long as I use my creative force to create a being in the moment who is submitted to the will and the Most High, the will and the law of the Most High. See, I'm not static, I'm dynamic. Satan wants you to believe that I'm this dynamic thing, and that that I should identify as a sinner, meaning just say, oh well, I guess no matter what I do, I'm going to be seen as a sinner, so I might as well just go out here and enjoy the senses of the flesh, which I've done, by the way. Guess what? Guess what, evildoer in the chat? Guess what? When Christ defeated Satan at Calvary, that makes it possible for me to confess, repent, and be forgiven like it never happened. So guess what? All them things I did that caused those wicked spirits to inhabit my flesh, when in the name of Christ, when in the name of Jesus, those spirits were delivered out of my chakra system, and they, in fact, the wicked spirit that I believe is in my gallbladder, what will happen is it's to the right of my spine. What will happen is that spirit will get kicked over into my spine, and it will be in my chakra system, and it will ascend my chakra system, and it will be expelled out my throat chakra by coughing. It will be coughed out my chakra. It will be coughed out of my throat chakra, because that, whatever that is, can never ascend to my third eye, my upper chakras, my third eye, and my crown. See, wicked spirits can't ever go into my third eye chakra and my crown chakra, which I believe is why they say the only unforgivable sin is blasphemy in the Holy Spirit, which I believe would be that bridge between the lower chakras and the upper chakras. And I just now figured that out in the moment. I'm not sure that's true, but it seems true to me. So if the person ever completely becomes irredeemable, the so-called unforgivable sin, blasphemy in the Holy Spirit, to me that would mean the wicked spirits would then have full reign over the chakra system of the human. Because the demonic spirits can only operate in my lower chakra, and mainly in the red and the orange. See how it works? Which just happens to be where where my organs that are ruined reside. I don't think that's a coincidence. And when I talk about abdominal pain on the right side of my body, guess that's general vicinity of the old solar plexus chakra, is it not? General vicinity. Never done actual drugs, freedom fighter. See, and here's what's interesting about the spiritual attacks. He's attempting to discredit me at the level of my humanity. I've never taken an actual drug. Now I've drank alcohol. I've used alcohol as a drug, and I've used cannabis as a drug. Other than that, all of my drug experiences are psychedelics. I've done mushrooms. And I've tried very small amounts of LSD, very small, what they call wash, whatever the hell that is. I guess people who are into LSD will know what that means. I don't even really know what that means. Never done cocaine, not once. Never done opiates, not once. Never done meth, not once. Come at me, bitch, not once. You can put me on the lie detector. I can stand before the Lord and say, nope, not once. Oh, this is why you don't do drugs, kids. Well, I'd never know, but I bet the person typing that's done drugs. I bet you've done drugs, person typing that. Now, if we're willing to consider alcohol a drug, then yeah, I've done drugs. I've done alcohol, yeah. Cocaine, 0. Meth, 0. Opiates, 0. Come at me, bro. Excuse me, meth, not even once. Not even once. How about you? I can call you whatever I want to call you. Because as much as I say this is our house, it's still my house. Hey, if it's our house, it's my house. And it seems to me like I'm the one with the microphone right now. So I'll call you whatever I want to call you. And if you don't like it, turn off your station. That's what's funny about the demons is there's enough humanity in the demonized person that they want to hear this. It's funny how they're repelled and attracted all at the same time. Meanwhile, the demon wants to try to see if it can defeat me. Boy, hey, Satan would be well pleased if you could come up against Benton and bring Benton down a few notches. Good luck with that. Hey, look, exit 303. That's a famous number in my life. That's my grandfather's famous NFL football record, the 303. Benton 303, that's a thing. If you Google Benton 303, hell, my grandfather will probably come up. I bet it would. I bet he would. Shout out to James Warren Benton from Carthage, Arkansas. But I love watching the demons spurg in the chat. That's how I know I'm on the right track. See, if I was in here talking truth about the Buddha, these demons wouldn't have nothing to say. If I was in here talking about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, these demons wouldn't be in here saying, oh yeah, I believe in books. Ha ha ha. See? I wouldn't be under demonic attack if I was talking about Buddha. I wouldn't be under demonic attack if I was in here talking about Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita, now would I? Because they don't care about that. See, that's how I know there's power in the name of Jesus. Now maybe there were other avatars, I don't know. But if there were, I don't see any other avatars where that trigger the demons quite like the Jesus avatar. Triggered. Demons triggered in the chat. Well, anyway, I guess it's time to drop the link and see if anybody wants to comment. Maybe a demon will come on here and preach on Satan, preach on their master Satan. Maybe a demon will come in here and try to do that. That'd be interesting. Bring it on, demons. When you're living like I'm living, I ain't got nowhere to hide. Got nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. And if a mod would pin the link, I would appreciate it. For some reason, my YouTube's not allowing me to do that for whatever reason. Yeah, man, that moon is something else. I haven't seen it yet tonight myself. Excuse me, I'm having a lot of I'm burping a lot because of the old gallbladder. Yeah, a lot of weird behaviors. I agree. Hey, here comes a demon. Might be Rob Cleveland though. He's certainly not a demon. Hey, it's Rob Cleveland. All right. What's up, Rob?
Yo, yo, what's going on? Definitely not a
Oh, what's
demon.
happening, man? Just preaching. I do preach on occasions.
Yep, and that's when the demons tend to come out.
Oh my God! It's they come here. They come every time. That's how I know I'm
I,
onto something. Go ahead, sir.
yeah, I actually think I missed maybe like the last hour because I went
Okay.
back to, I went to catch up on Paul's stream about Mitch and the whole thing with the park or whatever. So I missed a lot of what you said.
Oh, that's no problem, man. I was just preaching on spiritual warfare and demonology mostly.
Yeah, I saw
But
Freedom Fighter in the chat. He seems very upset with you for some reason.
yeah, well, that's that anybody inhabited by demons, those demons, and that's a thing, man. And you know, it's a real thing. And even these Christians are willing to accept that Jesus in the Bible traveled around teaching and healing, but they want to pretend like that third thing he did, casting out wicked spirits, they want to pretend like that's not a thing, but it is.
Yeah, and I noticed that with like not to bring up Talcott, but that's something that he preaches about Jesus like all the time and all this lovey-dovey stuff. But he always leaves out the part, Jesus flipped over tables, you know, cursing out fig
Absolutely.
trees.
Yep. Show enough. But yeah, but when I was going off on Mr. Murphy earlier, that is my spirit of wrath. And if I have any, I have been delivered. That's my testimony, my deliverance from wicked spirits in the name of Jesus. But if I have any left, that's what's left in me is that spirit of wrath. So if I can
You
ever
went off on
repent,
Officer
then
Murphy?
what's that?
You went off on Officer Murphy?
Yeah, I went off on him because he wasn't here though. I did it, but he seemed to, because he's drunk, but he wants to type all this advice into the chat and talk like he's got some sort of level of attainment. But the fact is, he can't live all of these ideas while he's getting drunk every day. It's just not possible. So I've challenged him to either get his shit together or prove me wrong and set a goal and achieve it while he's drunk every day. And I want to send him a breathalyzer. So I want to, if when he comes on the panel, I want to have him breathalyzed. I think he's at about a 0.24 most of the time.
Holy
Which
shit.
is fine, dude. I was at a 0.24 not that long ago. I was a daily drunk for several months recently. But then you see people in the chat saying this is what drugs does. I've never done actual drugs, not once, not one fucking time, other than alcohol and marijuana. Everything else I've done is psychedelic. So I've never tried any actual drug ever, not even one time. And then I got accused of being a skinhead. I'm like, hey, I'm not a West Coaster, American History X. I'm from Arkansas, man. We don't have skinheads like that. We don't have that where I'm from. So try again. Now they're just making stuff up. I say all kind of things, Freedom Fighter. Now I'm being discredited at the level of Paul. I don't know. Does Freedom Fighter start live streams and then Paul comes and hangs out sometimes? I don't know who Freedom Fighter is. You tell me, Rob.
I
don't know
I've
who
never.
that is.
I mean, I think I've seen him in a few different chats, but it's relatively new to me. I've never really seen.
Well, Freedom Fighter, I'm guessing you don't have a channel where Paul sometimes shows up and hangs out. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that to mean that. Now, if I said fuck Paul in a certain context, that's certainly possible, but that doesn't mean fuck Paul out of context, does it? I fuck with Paul, so I might say fuck Paul every once in a while. I'll say fuck Drew sometimes. I'll still fuck with Drew. So what are you even talking about? You never given one of your friends the middle finger, Freedom Fighter? See how these demons try to, if I'm dumb enough to fall for their bullshit, see how they try to lie and obfuscate and change the context and change the meaning?
Yeah.
I said at one time before I started going to Paul's live streams, I said he looks like a Caucasian albino. Well, he kind of does. I mean, like, is that out of bounds that he kind of looks like that to me? So what? Dude, I look like I'm in a concentration camp. So what? I got Drew making Zyklon Benton memes. Talking about 6 million views, I mean, come on. I think Paul probably has enough of a sense of humor to realize that maybe he does look like a Caucasian albino to some degree. So what?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's aware of that. That's, you know, I think that's why he likes Carl's videos so much, because you know, he's even said it himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I figured that out on my own. It's not something I heard somebody else say. So, you know. But oh, and now I'm discredited because I said some bad words about Paul potentially. Oh, okay. I might say it to his face. I might just say "fuck you" at some point. Does that mean oh he's never gonna talk to me again? Like it's like these
Quite the
people.
opposite.
Yeah, it's like these people think it's just somehow like we're little children and oh Benton said something about this other person, so now it's like we're at war. It's like not really, man. It's very childish.
Indeed. I'll be back in a few minutes. I got my supervisor come and do a guardhouse
cool.
check.
That's always fun, I bet.
It's only
all right,
like
man.
5 minutes.
Cool, man. All right, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes.
All right, cool. I guess he's going to stay on. Good deal. Man, I'm running into all these slow trucks. None of them will hardly let me pass. It's crazy. I'm like, dude, can I just drive? Why does everybody got to fight me to the death? Probably some of that moon energy we were talking about. Everybody's all fucking agitated, edgy. Oh, okay. Well, somebody's going to become the admin mod at some point. That might end up being Tranquil Vortex. I made somebody else an admin mod. I just don't. It might have been Music Holds a Secret. Oh, I think I can do it, maybe. There we go. Bam. Yeah, I'll say it again. Fuck Paul. There you go. Do you really think that that's going to keep him from coming over here every once in a while? Okay, well, I guess I have to do it then. That's strange. I'm still figuring out how all this works. I'm really not a YouTube person. I guess I am now, but I haven't been up to this point. And see, these little jealous bitches too, man. See, Daddy says, why does Benton keep talking shit about Paul? I'll talk whatever shit I want to talk, homie. I'll talk whatever shit I want to talk. And in fact, when Paul was here last time, I told him, I said, hey man, just so you know, I got swept up in that stuff when Yurt was going at you, and I said I was involved in the live chat, and I definitely said some things about Paul. I told him that to his face. Dude, I'm gonna back everything I gotta say, but you got these little jealous bitches who have weak personalities, and they want to orbit around somebody like Paul, and then they get jealous when somebody like me can interface with Paul. Yeah, go fuck yourself, Daddy. You're a jealous bitch, which is fine. You're welcome over here, even as you're a jealous bitch. See, that's the difference is I'm not trying to correct your behavior. Be a jealous bitch. You're welcome here as a jealous bitch, but I'm still going to call you out as a jealous bitch. You're a jealous bitch. Maybe Paul does. I can't speak for Paul. I know I don't want a bunch of people around that are going to tell me that my shit don't stink. I want people, at least a few people around that are going to be like, hey, Benton, you're kind of on some bullshit right now. All right. I don't want sycophants. And in fact, that's one of the big things I respect about Drew World Order. Shout out to Chalk Body Outline. He won't tolerate sycophants. I tried to just give him an actual compliment when I first went on his Discord. He wasn't having it. I said, okay, well, I can respect this. This is somebody who he's never going to allow sycophants like that Quantum of Conscience allows all these sycophants. And I mean, look up the meaning of the word if you don't know what it means. Well, I don't want sycophants either. But I'm powered by compliments. I do like a genuine compliment now and then. I'm not allergic to them like Drew is. Well, that's fine. I mean, whatever. But see, that's the thing is, a person could come on here, and whether or not that's a sock account, I don't know. See, I'm literally not smart enough to figure all that out. Now, somebody's getting pulled over. I guess, is it this guy behind me or is it me? It might be me. or he's just hauling balls trying to find somebody else. Oh yeah, he's hauling balls. I'm getting over so he knows I see him. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been to QOC in forever. He's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. I was occasionally tuning into his channel, but I was never. I liked his audio book, his actual book. I thought was pretty good. But I'm a conspiracy theorist, so of course I would like it. But Yurts pointed out that the actual writing is not very good. He's probably right, but I enjoyed the audio book. It's really more of like a lecture series, really more than anything else. Yeah, it's fucking garbage. But I found Drew first, so I had no idea who. I'd never heard of QOC until I found Chalk Body Outline. But whether or not those are sock accounts, I'm not smart enough to even figure all that out. And I think that's kind of what Tommy was talking about. He commented on my last stream about I don't have the ability to keep up with all the stuff, like who's what in the chat. I just don't. It's not my forte, man. I don't fucking know. So it either is or it's not. But somebody can come on the channel and be on the panels, and they're not going to fool me in the long run. You know why? Because everybody always reveals himself. That's an aphorism. And as far as I know, I'm the one that came up with it, or at least I'm the one that spit it out. And I will know what is the nature of that person. Either way. So ultimately, my opinion of that human doesn't really even matter, as far as I can tell. Who cares? Just my opinion. But it must mean something to start preaching on Jesus just a little bit, and here come all the demons. Meanwhile, there's people with Bible channels, and I bet they don't have demons coming against them every time they talk about Jesus. And I don't care what anybody says. Hey, there he is. All that stuff attributed to Paul in the Bible in the New Testament, that's not the gospel of Jesus. If we got the gospel of Jesus, what do we need the gospel of Paul for? What do we need that? The fact that there needs to be a separate gospel, that proves to me that Paul is on some bullshit. If Paul wasn't on some bullshit and just preached the gospel of Jesus, would we even know who the heck he was? Or he'd just be like everybody else, if you ask me. Yeah, give them enough rope. That's right, Woody. Give them enough rope and they will hang themselves. And Woody's very intelligent and astute. He knows that's my style in a lot of ways. I'm going to give everybody enough rope. Whether or not they hang themselves is up to them. Yep. That's my job. My job is to be nice. My job is to be nice and friendly to everybody. That's my job. Did you pass inspection, Mr. Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just an inventory check. That's all it is. Collecting the trash and paperwork, collecting the paperwork from the day.
Okay. You do that out once a day?
Yeah, I guess they do a graveyard. The supervisors come in at night. Well, I guess they do it every shift. I don't really know.
Oh, okay. Every shift, I got you.
Yeah. I'm not
every
sure
day
do it
for you, or every night. Every night you work. Yeah, I got you. And this is what with people talking about me want me to go to the doctor. Dude, I can tell I'm sick as a dog today, but I can tell it's that sickness. It's the type of sickness where I'll end up being better in the long run for it. Not all sickness is just I'm sick and somebody please alleviate me of these feelings, right? It's part of the healing process. My body's healing to the degree that it's able to heal. This is part of that, is being I'm sick in the meantime some of the time. So I'm at about a 7 out of 10 on the sickness scale right now, Rob Cleveland. Yeah. But pain don't hurt. JG likes to talk about Roadhouse. I think that's what Patrick Swayze said in Roadhouse. Pain don't hurt.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sort of dealing with this hernia that I got right now, and
Oh, you got a hernia. Oh shit.
yeah, I mean
What?
it's sort of been there. I've noticed it since I was like a teenager, but it's only been like sort of recently where it's like it's gotten noticeably bigger. Where
Oh
like, I can
shit.
see the fucking like the bulge is it's kind of worrisome, but at the same time, there's no pain. It's a slight discomfort sometimes, but I don't know. I'm sort of afraid to go to the hospital. I'd rather just sort of deal with it, but I don't know what to
Well,
do.
my research indicates that is something they're good at. They can actually operate on that and fix it. But then, if you research the internet, I'm sure you'll find some people will say, well, now I had the surgery and I'm worse. I mean, that's the risk, is having surgery and now you're worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'll just wait until
And
the
when his
pain
gets bad, he wears a truss.
Where's the
Gets
what?
too bad, a truss. You
Oh,
know what
okay.
that? So his, like, when
No.
his flares up, he has an actual, like, some kind of bandage that he wraps around it to hold it in. It's called a truss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but when everything's going good, see, his seems to be stress really seems to affect his. He gets stressed out because he eats a pretty good diet. He doesn't exercise enough, but if he would exercise more, but he's 67. I guess hell, he might be 68 by now. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's contributing to it is my diet because I don't eat very well, but I don't really eat all that often, so I think it kind of balances out a little bit maybe, and I walk everywhere I go, so I don't know.
Well, a hernia, isn't that where there's a split in the lining of the intestines, the outer wall of the intestine, and then the intestine starts to form a bubble like through that wall? Isn't that what that is?
I think I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I like not clinically, because I just did a quick Google search, bulge in pelvic area, and everything
Yeah.
that came up was hernia. So,
Well, I'm pretty sure that's your intestines. So don't believe me. This is not medical advice, but that's when I talked to my dad about his. That's my understanding of what he's had for many years, and he won't do the surgery because he doesn't want to take the risk of making it worse because his is already pretty fucking bad. But he's also uses that. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Well, he's used it as an excuse to not work in his later years because at one time he had his own business and he built up enough resources. He should have been able to retire when he was like 55, but he fucked around and lost. He didn't know he had compulsive gambling and he lost most of his money trading financial instruments. So his version of retirement has just been he stopped working and now he just lives very frugally. But he's used that because generationally he has, especially women, they think he should go out and get a job. So he's used that partially as an excuse for not having a job, his hernia. So if he gets surgery and fixes it, he loses his. He doesn't know that he's doing that, but that's definitely what he's doing in part, which is fine. I mean, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, from a lot of the searches that I've been looking at and some of the questions that people have been asking, it's like, I guess it's not really, bad until it is, when it gets to the point where it's painful and like there's this discomfort all of the time. That's sort of the point where most people, I guess, go to the hospital for it. But it's just a slight discomfort. But like I said, the bulge, like just how it looks, it's kind of worrisome to me, at least.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is worrisome. I agree. And just based on my dad having that for years, based on what I know of him, is that he got to that point where most people would go to the doctor, and maybe he went to the doctor and all they said was surgery, but he's been able to deal with it on his own. So when it gets bad, he knows to slow down, get more rest, maybe clean up his diet, and then use that truss. And then when it improves, then he, doesn't use the truss anymore. And then, you see what I mean? And then, like, he's got high blood pressure and stuff that contributes. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like it's different on
yeah,
it's different on different days. Some days it's like
exactly.
like,
It comes and goes.
The bulge isn't really there, but I can sort of like feel the slight discomfort in like my stomach area, like close to my groin. And then on other days it's just like way the fuck out there. It's wild.
Yeah, man. And so just from, like I say, that's what he deals with. It comes and goes. So if you're not going to get the surgery, I mean, I think that's what'll be your thing for the rest of your life, most likely, unless, God heals you or whatever. You'll probably be dealing with that forever, I'm assuming.
That's yeah, I would think so too. Like I said, I've sort of noticed it when I was like a teenager. I would kind of play around with it. I'd push, and then I'd see the bulge, and I'd push it back in. But at that time it was very, very little. It wasn't noticeable really. But now that I'm almost 30, it's worrisome.
Yep. Well, and then Roy Duggan in the chat is talking about it may also have something to do with weak abdominal muscles comparatively, which sometimes isn't even weak abdominals. It can actually just be your abdominals are weak in comparison to some of your other muscles, because it's all a balance. But like I did such intense weight training that I have strong abdominal muscles. So that may be why, like, if my dad has this problem, I may never actually get it, because and part of that is being able to like suck in my stomach. Like I can, like a plank. If you do a plank, that's what that is. It's that muscle. It's that muscle behind your abdominals that pulls in your stomach. Mine is really strong. Like, and then you get into your pelvic floor, which is like when they talk about doing Kegel exercises, I used to do those for sexual performance, because I was, into my performance, and back when I was very egoic. So that all kind of meets up together, Oh, dude, I don't know how graphic y'all want to get with it, but I was on the male multiple orgasms with the breathing and everything, dude. The fucking, when they make fun of Sting for saying he could have tantric sex for hours and hours, dude, I was on that shit for a while. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, that's a real thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was just thinking about a joke that Bill Burr said something about that, where he's just
yeah,
it was hilarious.
Yeah, dude, that's all real, man. But that's all lower chakra stuff, man. Which is fine, but it's I can't go to where I'm trying to go through my lower chakras. That's just not possible. But I had a very attractive woman that I was with for 10 years, so I certainly enjoyed it while it was happening. Some of that was being able to make sure I could perform at a high level. So that was fun. That's part of the reason why I say, why do I need to keep doing that? Like, I've kind of been there, done that. Do I really need to keep doing that?
I was always sort of like worried, going back to the ego. I was always like sort of worried about like my performance, but I always hear good things. And even when I lost my V card to the prostitute that I that I messed with, I told her it was my first time. She's like, oh, it's good. And all, like I said, I was worried. I don't know if I'm doing well or not.
I got you. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's definitely, I think all of us.
Self-conscious thing.
Yeah, I think all of us, are probably self-conscious on that level. I know I was that way. I just, for whatever reason, I was it's probably, a lot of it's, I don't think it was me so much as the environment. Like, I was, it was pretty early for me. So, I was very insecure also, but I think the earlier a fella can deal with that kind of stuff, the better, in my experience. And I had a nice lady, an older lady, by the way. I was like 17, 15 the first time, but then the first time where I actually got to learn how to do it right, I was 17 and she was like 25. Guess the race,
Okay.
Rob Cleveland. By the way, that's a guess the race.
African American.
Black, yeah, black gal. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, she taught me everything I needed to know on that level, though. There's something culturally. That's part of why I say I'm half black culturally, which is tongue in cheek. I mean, I'm as white as it gets in a lot of ways, but yeah, there's something to that. So, damn. Now they're saying, why do I keep saying fuck Paul? Fuck Paul. Fuck Paul. Fuck Paul. Fuck Paul. I say fuck Paul because I'm never going to belong to whatever he's doing over there. Just like I don't belong to whatever Chalk Body Outline's doing. Just like I don't belong to whatever EBT's doing. I belong to everybody. I don't belong to any of these groups. So I'll probably continue to say fuck Paul. And I guarantee you, if I'm on live with him at some point, I will flip him the bird. That will happen. I guarantee it. Now, did we ban Mr. Murphy from the chat, or did we just time him out? I don't know what happened, Mods. We don't necessarily need to ban him, but he might be okay. It might be better if he was done for the day, possibly. But I certainly want him to come back.
5 minutes in the chamber, or tell him to come up and talk.
I don't know that I don't think it's been way more than 5 minutes. I'm not sure that was going to suffice. That might be might be the rest of the day thing. I don't know. All I know is this is the highest level of moderation we've ever experienced here on the channel, so that's got to mean something. It's getting wild in these streets. And see, I say streets. I'm tongue in cheek when I say it. I think that's what happens when Paul is like, quit saying YouTube streets. I think he means like saying it like unironically. Like I'm joking when I say it. I think it's funny. Okay, good. Yeah, as long as he's not banned. Good deal. Good job, Mods. But see, I know that the thing with me and Paul is I realize I don't have the energy to battle against Paul. And look at what Yurt did, the Yurt fellow. That was very foolish, if you ask me. Why do you really want to go mano-a-mano with somebody like Paul? That's a bad idea. Like, I'm on that art of war shit, man. When two fucking Rams go to fucking war, dude, you just like both of them are left bruised and battered. You know, like nobody wins, if you ask me. Like, why would I want to go up against somebody in that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to? But I gotta let him know I ain't no bitch. You know, I gotta let him know I ain't no bitch. There's a lot of bitches in these streets, so I gotta let him know I'm not that.
Indeed, there are a lot of bitches.
Yep. So I've no desire to go up against Paul. That would be foolish. Just like I have little desire to go up against EBT, but it was going to happen at some point, so might as well get it over with.
I don't know what the deal is with EBT. I mean, I hear all these great things, or not great things, but I hear people speak highly of him. And every time I've seen him, he's just drunk on the broadcast, you know, just talking incoherently, slurring his speech, swaying back and forth. Like,
well,
bro.
I'll tell you the key if you want to know the key is he's almost always the biggest brain. So if it's him and some other people, he's almost always the biggest brain as far as just pure ability intellectually. But he doesn't necessarily show it. So, and it is to his. I'm telling you, it's there. Like, you don't have to believe me, but it's true. And you know, do your own research. But he shows it here and there. But I think he's smart enough to know it's actually to his advantage if people underestimate him. That's some art of war further to his advantage. So that's probably part of why he comes across as a bozo. Also, Toilet Bowl Earth. As much as I hate his guts, he's got a big brain as well, but not quite as big as EBT's. But I'm one of the smaller brains. But the autism grants me certain abilities. # things Benton can do. So yeah, I get to be a pseudo intellectual, but with some like enhanced abilities. But I love it, man.
I feel
it's
like
fun.
I'm sort of there too.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to speak for you, but I think that's where I'd say me and you are probably pretty similar in that regard.
Fuck is this? Oh,
No offense. No offense. But,
none taken. None
Yeah.
taken.
yeah, Austin can come back as Austin. It's just, I just don't want to look down. The only reason I even said mod him is because I looked down. It was just a wall of Austin in the live chat. I'm just trying to avoid the wall of Austin. Other than that, do whatever you want. I don't really care. Now, I failed to plug in my phone. I bet that thing's about to die. So let me take a moment. But by the way, man, big things are happening here at the channel, whether you guys realize it or not. I don't remember, but I think the next level up on StreamYard is like $79 a month. I'm pretty sure I'm going next level on StreamYards. I'm going to add more StreamYard administrators. Then I'm picking up my new computer on Thursday if Amazon can actually manage to deliver it on time, which I think they can. Amen, Tranquil Vortex. I am Sun Tzuing these streets. And by God, I guarantee you, I got one of the most strategic minds on here. I guarantee you that. I'm an idiot savant on that. I'm on that Art of War, and I'm on that 48 Laws of Power. Now, doesn't mean I practice the 48 Laws, but if you think I haven't read that book a couple of times, you're fooling yourself. I was talking about the 48 Laws of Power in the Art of War just now. Not a big fan of.
I heard it vaguely. Sorry.
Not a big fan of the 48 Laws of Power. I don't really like it, but I recognize that a lot of people that I would potentially go up against strategically have read that book. So I've read it at least twice. I just don't find it to be that great of a book, but there's a lot of real shit in there, I mean, for sure. But if my enemy subscribes to those philosophies, then of course I need to know those philosophies. I need to know what my enemy knows, right? I'm more of the Art of War is what I found more useful in my life. Part of which is first the warrior places himself beyond the possibility of defeat. And I take that to mean psychologically. Meaning I can't fear death because I've already died a death when I go into battle. I've already accepted that I very well may not survive this skirmish. Monetize thyself. Well, I'll tell you what's probably going to happen, Tranquil Vortex, if anybody's curious. If I do go to that $79 level on StreamYard, I'm pretty sure I can do live streams that are not live on YouTube. So I can have people join my StreamYard, right? Now, I may not want to do a paywall, but I may want to do hey, it's up to you. And so I'll probably have a first round of here's who's on my StreamYard, meaning the OGs. So all the OGs like Rob Cleveland, and I do consider you OG around here, Rob. You got in early enough. So all the OGs like Tranquil Vortex, Sean, Glenn, and see, a lot of these people don't even post over here that often, but I know who you are, OGs. Dark Glasses Woody, of course. Music Holds a Secret. All of these OGs, even Mr. Murphy, even you, Mr. Murphy. I recognize how early on you were over here. Maybe even an Ian Hemphill. They'll all get grandfathered into the StreamYards. Because I'm talking about going to the $79 a month level of StreamYards, Rob, which I believe would enable me to do StreamYard only, where people could just be on my StreamYard and I could just talk to them and not be on YouTube. I
didn't even know that was an option. I saw the free, the $20, and like the $40 thing.
Well, there's a level where you can have up to like 250 people on your StreamYards.
Oh yeah,
so I can see that. Yeah, I can add them to my StreamYard so I can stream just to them. Because they can be in the background, not on the panel, but I'm streaming to them. See what I'm saying? Where they're watching me they're watching me through StreamYard. So I can actually say, okay, I've got these 15 people or whatever it is, the OGs. So then beyond that, anybody who donates to me will then get added monetarily, which, by the way, will probably only be crypto, by the way. through my website, and I just paid the money to keep the Nightmare Dystopia domain name. I paid the money for another year of Nightmare Dystopia, so I will probably take a couple of days off soon, reinstate my website, and I'll probably spend however many days it takes me to figure out how to accept crypto over my own website through BitPay. And I'll probably say, okay, whoever donates $50 or whatever in crypto is now added to my StreamYards. So which will form, that will function as a paywall, right? So that would, I think, that would be my form of monetization. It's like, no, it's not a monthly fee. Just give me $50. Now you're on my StreamYard for however long I have a StreamYard. So here you are. Here you go. And then I might even do it if I did ever get to 1,000 subs on the channel, I could just do a 99-cent member level, which is like you get a little icon, right? I might just pay the 99 cents for everybody. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, donate to me, one-time fee. Now you also get to be a member, whatever that lowest level I can make the monthly membership, just to let them get custom emojis and that little icon, as perks, right? Like there's a lot of ways to do the monetization where it's not like dude, I don't want to become a subscription service necessarily, right? I never want it to be like, I want to be able to preach a 30-minute sermon every once in a while without half the people fucking unsubscribing to the service. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But versus if they give me a $50 one-time fee and then they decide to unsubscribe from the StreamYards, well, that's their choice. I don't control that.
How do you play? How do you play?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's fair play. I just don't want to have this. Now I'm dependent on this monthly income from YouTube. And now I want to preach a 30-minute sermon once a month, but now I'm going to be hesitant because I don't want half of my paid subs to subscribers. I don't even like the term sub. Half my paid subscribers are going to, unsubscribe, right? Because to me,
YouTube takes like a third of it anyways, right? Like
30%, 30. Yeah, I think it's a third. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's 30, but hell, it might be 33. But see, I don't have Venmo, and I have PayPal, but I don't have an account with PayPal, and I don't want an account with PayPal. Because the fact is, if I let PayPal tie into my debit card, one day they'll just wake up and decide that they'll just seize my funds. They'll just decide they're entitled to my funds, and they'll just take my funds. So my thing is, like, I donate to Chalkbody through PayPal, but it's through his website. He's got his website set up where I go on his website, I click on $50 or whatever I'm giving him at the time, and it generates an invoice, and then I can pay him through PayPal off my debit card through that invoice without having a PayPal account. But see, Paul doesn't have that. I would have already given Paul at least $50 by now, but I literally can't through PayPal because I can't do it without creating an account, which I'm not going to do. So I'm stuck. See what I'm saying? I almost emailed him and said, hey, man, just send me an invoice for $50. I'm not going to get it. See, I don't want these things. I don't even want a prepaid debit account because that's technically a bank. Dude, I hate banks. I don't want any of this bullshit. But I kind of have to have a debit card to get paid, right? I don't really have a choice. Yeah. Hey, listen to this. I can't get a checking account, but because I'm in a database that was created because of the Patriot Act, because of the terrorist attacks of 9/11, 2001. Because when I was gambling, I used to play a lot of internet poker, and I was engaged in compulsive gambling for a few years. So I knew that I could deposit on PokerStars. Actually, it was Full Tilt Poker back in the day before Black Friday. I knew I could overdraft my U.S. bank account and deposit on Full Tilt Poker the max amount of like $150. So I lost my account, and they called it account abuse. And then now I'm flagged in the database. I literally can't. If I go into a bank, they won't give me a checking account because I'm flagged for account abuse.
Wow.
This is the same reason I don't file a income tax return. At a certain point, they decided I owed student loans, and they started keeping my income tax refund. Well, I said, okay, fuck me, fuck you. And I haven't filed in over 20 years, and I'm not going to file. Fuck them.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead and email the IRS. I don't own anything, people. They're not going to show up and take me to jail. That's not a thing. It's not a thing, I assure you. If I owned property, they would come take my property at some point, but I don't even owe them money. You know why? They take their money out of my paycheck. I'm giving them $200 a week, so they're happy. I'm still paying them. I'm just not filing a return. Do you think they care that I file a return and don't own property? Of course they don't. Why would they? I'm a slave. I'm a corporate slave. I'm giving them my money. I'm a lefty, Rob Cleveland. On some level, I do believe my labor is my property. The goddamn government is seizing part of my labor. They're siphoning off some of my human essence, and then I'm going to come on here as if I'm not a slave. Of course I am. How could I not be a slave on some level? I know I'm doing that. You think I don't know I'm doing that? I knew I was doing that way before I ever came across Paul enslaved.
See, and I think that's the thing with Paul. Like a lot of if you can admit that, then hey, it is what it is. You know, he won't like besmirch you or like berate you or anything like that.
Exactly.
If you admit it and you know what you are, then I mean, I still am to some degree.
Bro,
I'm working my way to get out of that, but go ahead.
Exactly. And I got slaved up on stream with him here because I got pulled into a equipment inspection in New Mexico, and he basically called me a slave, and I didn't have any resistance to it. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. I am engaged in commerce, so I've agreed to this on some level. So bring it on, New Mexico. You know, I am a slave in this moment. So what? But I think where Paul doesn't like that people, and again, this is my perception of Paul, is he doesn't like these people. They want to be on Paul's level, and Paul's like, you're not on my level. You're a fucking slave. So I'm not on Paul's level in that regard. You think I don't know that? Why would he respect me on that? He shouldn't. Not on that level. He can probably respect me on other levels, not on that level. He's not supposed to. But I'll get there, man. I'll get there eventually. I'm working towards it, just like you probably are. I'm procrastinating, though, for my own purpose.
Yeah, doing the same
and I'm going to do this form of slavery as long as I'm physically able. So, who knows, though? Maybe I'll go to the Rick Simpson oil, and maybe it will kill my pancreatic cancer if that's what I have. Because my research indicates that high amounts of THC can absolutely cure cancer. So we'll find out.
You're in Vegas. You know, you're familiar with the Gerson method, right?
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
Not medical advice, by the way.
No, yeah, exactly. Not medical advice. But Rob Cleveland, maybe. By the way, it's a little more expensive than Colorado, but your state of Nevada has medical marijuana. Actually, recreational. My bad, because I don't have a medical card. But find me some shack I can live in your area, Cleveland, and I'll come there and I'll come there with enough money to just live long enough to just take a bunch of cannabis. You know, I don't need much. Just find me some shack I can afford somewhere for a few $100s. I'll come fucking stay there. I don't care. I just got to be by myself a lot of the time. That's the only thing I require. And air conditioning, obviously. I need some air conditioning and some heat.
Yeah,
heating and air conditioning.
Need that in Las Vegas.
And electricity. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm working to get up out of the shack that I'm in right now. I'm still living with my stepfather.
Oh, okay.
Just so I can kind of like prepare myself and do what get what I need to get before I go out. Because the last time I went out on my own, well, I wasn't really out on my own. I had two other roommates, and I was in California, and we got evicted because of their transgressions.
Where was this?
Sacramento. This is when I was living in Sacramento.
How long were you in Sac?
3 months. I was out there for 3 months. And
I gotta
my roommates would be fighting in the middle of the fucking night, like And the place we lived at, the walls were very thin, very, very thin. So the whole complex of where we're living, I could hear what's going on 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm up at this time because I have to get ready for work. And I remember one night, the landlord, she actually lived in the complex, she came up to our, knocking on our door and stuff like, hey, what's going on? And, we can hear all the arguing. And she's trying to put it on me. She's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm sitting there getting ready for work." She sees me putting on my Target shirt, my khakis. I'm sitting there getting ready for work. You talk to them. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Talk to them.
Yeah.
And then she ended up talking to him, and we got an eviction notice like a week later. I didn't pay for last month's rent because I'm not, I wasn't at fault. This had nothing to do with me. This was y'all shit. So I left that month, and ever since then, I've been here back with my stepfather, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, dude. Roommates is not. I've had a lot of roommates, but mainly when I was in college age. Dude, I can't do that shit anymore. That's a non-starter for me. I'll just go live in a tent, like literally, before I'll try to have roommates. I can't do it.
That's something I had to learn the hard way.
No, I don't have the pay. I can't do it. But I could live in some Mexican family's shed in their backyard if it throw a little fucking heater and a air conditioner in their shed. I'll give them $500 a month to live in their backyard or something. But I gotta I gotta be able to cook my own meals and do all. As long as I can take care of my basic needs and be left the fuck alone, I don't need much.
Same way, man.
And I can show up with enough cash to do that for some period of time, and then hell, if I could speak Spanish, I could probably just figure this out on my own. But I'm going to need an interpreter, because if I show up with a grip of money and a CDL and be like, "Look, I'm a truck driver, but I'm not going to work for the next 6 months while I live in your backyard and heal my cancer with this cannabis," I doubt they care. They probably just want the money.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Hey, cash is king, brother. That's some real shit.
Yeah, at least for the humans, I would say for like the people that are kind of running the show, so to speak, they is king.
For us, cash is king. Yeah, in the spheres we operate in. Yeah. I remember one time I bought this. 2 times I bought a car, and I figured out here's the best way to negotiate on a car is make sure you got the money on you in cash. And here's what I do is I just make my final offer, but then I pull the money out and I start counting the money. Dude, once they see that money, it's a wrap. All resistance is gone once they see that money.
Of course, because they know they're going to get a nice commission payoff of that.
So yeah, they probably want more money for the car, but here I am, and here's the money. And I told this guy one time I bought this little hatchback for $900, man. I said, man, let's face it, dude. I said, this is a tail light warranty. I said, I'm gonna give you $900. I'm gonna drive this thing out of here. If it breaks down on the other side of that hill, I won't say a word about it. It's my problem. I'm driving this thing out of here, man. So, do you want this $900 or not? And he took it. And I think he would have taken 800 in retrospect. He was trying to hold out. But I was like, man, I'm going to drive this thing out of here. I'm here. The money's here. Let's just do this.
All right. What are you waiting for? It's already here.
Another time I bought a Nissan Maxima for $3,000, and same thing. I had the money pulled out, and the guy's like, "Oh, I got to call my wife." I said, "Man, get her down here." I said, "I'm here. The money's here. Let's do this. Get her down here, man." She showed up. As soon as she saw that money, it was over. Signed the papers. I said, "Y'all have a good day. See you later." Great car, by the way. 99 Nissan Maxima. Great car.
I'll be back then.
99, yeah. Back in the day. Okay, Rob's coming back later. And they've got trucks fighting me to death again. Just won't let me pass. Just determined. Why do they do this? I don't know. I can't call it. Am I in New Mexico yet? I'd like to just live stream and not notice the fucking port of entry and just pass it up and not get pulled over and not even know that I passed it up. I can just feel these motherfuckers are going to inspect me. They're going to try to inspect me every time I go in there. It's getting crazy. I got to find somewhere to pull over. I think we're reaching the limits of my bladder here. There's a little truck stop over here, but it's on the wrong side, and the way you get over to it's kind of crazy, so I don't even want to deal with it. The dead air is a meditation, by the way. Better check in with the chat. Stephen Crumley, good to see you, sir. If you're still around, I see. That's a long comment. I'm not able to read right now, but I see you out there. See you working. Excuse me. So I think what's going on mostly with the old gallbladder, I think my body's going through the process of what do they call that? Emulsifying a lot of this sludge, which is mostly cholesterol, by the way. But it's also bile itself. So you got a lot of, that's what happens with the old, when the gallbladder gets, the gall in the gallbladder, the bile gets too concentrated. Eventually, it gets real sludgy, and part of that sludge is cholesterol. And I finally, shout out to Liver King, by the way. I finally got around to ordering. There's a supplement his company, Ancestral Supplement, sells called, it's a gallbladder, but it's the only one I can find that has actual bovine gallbladder, and it's $72 for 180 capsules. But I finally broke down and bought that. But it's also got the ox bile, which for a while I could tell that I took some of the ox bile and it actually made me worse. But I think I'm finally healthy enough or not sick enough where I can actually take the bile, because it's got gallbladder, bile, and liver in it. I don't know what time. Yeah, what time is Biden going now? Good question. If that actually happens. Yeah, exactly. SSI direct deposit requires a bank account. You're right. Although not across the board, there are some exceptions. If it's such as somebody who's on SSI but they're schizophrenic, not only do they get one check per week, they get an actual check, believe it or not. But I think that's probably through a payee, because I've known some schizophrenics. Schizophrenics get the most money, and a lot of them get paid weekly, because if you pay them once a month, they go way too off the rails. A lot of people don't know that, and I only knew because I knew a lady, and lady schizophrenics are the worst. As far as that's you find a woman who's a schizophrenic, that's the most severe form usually, because men is way more, schizophrenia way more prevalent in males than females. No, Drew predicted Biden today. I might actually throw up. I gotta find a place to stop. Starting to feel like I might actually vomit, which would probably be a good thing at this point. You know, y'all, I've been on strong bitter herbs for every day for months now. It's like at a certain point, you know, my gallbladder is not going to have any other choice but to give it up, man. And you know, because that's what those bitter herbs do is they stimulate the bile. So eventually, that bile is finally there's going to be enough of an emulsification effect to sort of turn the tide, and I think I'm starting to hit that point. And then you know what gets healed and released is always the things that's it's easiest for the body to deal with. So what's left over is the worst of the worst. So I think that's what I'm starting to run into here with my physical. Yeah, there you go. I haven't vomited in 20 years. Yeah, that's today, Crumbly. The DWO prediction, that's today. So we'll see.
Hey Ben, I'm gonna drop down and see what Z is babbling about. I'll probably come back over here.
You're good, man. And anyway, I know you're polite, but feel free to just drop off anytime. I won't be offended.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
See you later.
See ya.
Thanks for being here. Rob Cleveland, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. Sorry for I almost never burp, by the way. This is good. This is good stuff coming up. I'll try to mute, but yeah, this is good stuff. Good pain. Thinking about shutting it down. How long have we been? Let's see. Yeah, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.